Good afternoon or good evening or whenever you're watching this video. This is Alex, and we are going to embark on a journey of knowledge and learning for the 2023 year. It's been a while since I've made a video. I'm not going to display the webcam right now, but what I will do is I will record this video and we'll get some things set up so that way we can continue learning in our journey of knowledge and improvement for ourselves. I had some of my students ask me about learning how to code, and so I decided that since we're not teaching an active coding class at this time, there's one that's going to be in the future. I'm going to go ahead and have something on the side so that they can learn as well, and they can use this as a reference to help supplement their self-learning. This is not uh, uh, a guide from scratch for every single thing. Some things you're gonna have to learn on their own. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First off, I just want to thank God for everything that He's bestowed upon me, on my family. I'm sitting here next to my bride, and she's over here knitting and I'm sorry, crocheting, crocheting something right now, which is very colorful over here. And then our three daughters are out scrounging up some food for everybody right now. So, of course, I had to pay for it, of course, obviously. Uh, so we're going to go ahead and get started today. It's Memorial Day 2023. And the goal is we're going to fill up a repository that I created with some normalized um, weekly learning activities. Okay. So at least once a week, we'll try to make a video and so we'll add some things to the repository. Okay. So the repository, I'll go ahead and pull that up, is over here. It's on my Alex Horton 1995 learning in the GitHub account. If you don't have a GitHub account, you need to go get a GitHub account. I need to change that too. And then the repository is just called Learning 2023 Plus. If you click on it, it uses the regular MIT license, and we'll get into what the MIT license is. If you click on it, it tells you exactly what it is here. Blah, 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 blah. But the README here tells us what we're going to be doing. It's a personal repository of self-propelled learning in 2023 onward. It serves as a personal project. We're going to be focusing on Git, SQL Server, C Sharp, REST APIs, and generative AI using ChatGPT. We'll probably get into some other stuff depending on how far we get. The overview, the purpose of this project is to document my progress and learning experiences while exploring different technologies. Um, just full disclosure, some of this I generated with ChatGPT because I just want to use it. I have an assignment for work that I have to do. And so I decided to go ahead and use ChatGPT to generate some of this stuff. So throughout this project, I'll be focusing on these technologies as of right now. Obviously, we've already talked a little bit about generative AI ChatGPT. Git, which is a version control system that you would use to manage your source code and track changes. SQL Server, that's for your data storage and retrieval. C Sharp, which is what I use on a daily basis, that's programming languages, using various technologies in the language of C Sharp. And we'll probably venture into other languages too. REST APIs, we can develop REST APIs using C Sharp. They're representative state transfer architecture services used for building web services and APIs. An API is an application programming interface, and of course, generative AI. Each technology is going to have its own folder, and we're going to talk about these things here in each different folder here. I won't bore you all with that. To get started, you'll want to clone down the repo. You'll need to download Git to do that, however, and we're going to go over that as well. Structure of the repository is as follows here. There's a license, there's contributing, README, and then there's a Git ignore for my Visual Studio stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. So first thing we need to do before we grab this code out here that's going to be created is um, we're going to have to get a copy of Git. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Git repo here, and I have a very generic README here that I created. And we're going to go ahead and go into our friend Google, and let's just look up Git download. And so the Git SCM is where you want to get Git from. If you are using a Windows computer, you'll see the download over here. If you're using Mac, you can use that over here. So I'm just going to click download for Windows, and what will happen is you can click here, to download the latest 64-bit of Windows Git program there. And if you've got Mac, you would want to use the one that you're going to use. I already have Git installed here, but I'm going to go ahead and go through how you would install it here. So I'm going to click download, and it downloads over here. So just say open file. And it pops up a setup page here for you. And what you're going to do is if you want to read through all of this stuff here, that's fine. It's just saying, hey, I won't hack Git and all that kind of stuff. For my own purposes, click next. You'll notice that I already have some stuff here that's on there. And that's because I already have Git installed on my machine here. Let me close this terminal over here. Oh, it's going to remove my previous version. Nice. I have an older version anyway, so let's just go ahead and go through that. So if you have an older version of Git on your machine, obviously it will get rid of the old version. And it's going to go ahead and install the newer version. Now, one of the things that you want to do is you can use some of the things that Git will get ready for you. Oh, it already installed it on there. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, I should still have it over here. I do. Once you install it, here, I'll just uninstall it real quick. Let's just do that. Control panel, unless there's a, yeah. Programs and features. Go to Git. There it is right there. Say uninstall. We'll just uninstall Git real quick. There we go. Okay, so now I don't have Git on my machine. Okay. So let's just go ahead and reinstall Git here. I guess I could have just used this one here. So, yep. All right, so click next. You'll want to install Git on your C drive. So click next. And you'll notice that you have to have at least 300 megs free. Yes, I want to install to that folder. Here, you can have icons on your desktop. There's Windows Explorer generation. So you can have Git Bash on there. There's large file support for stuff like that. There is a Git Bash profile to Windows Terminal. If you have Windows Terminal, I suggest you click that. Say click next. It will tell you the folder that will be installed in. Click next. Now, here's where it's going to give you some ideas here, of some extra options here. This is the editor that Git will use if you're going to edit commits and things of that nature, if you need to. There's a drop down in here, and you'll see a number of files in here that you can use. I would suggest clicking Use Notepad++ as Git's default editor. And then if you don't have Notepad++, click the little link here, and it will take you to Notepad++. And the current version is 8.53. and you'll want to download the latest version there and get it installed as well. I believe I already have the latest version. So let me go over to my Notepad++, and I'll just update the latest version. I think that's what I can do. Yep. And then it'll go through your install. Just click next. You agree. Your files should be on your C drive. You can leave all of this already. You'll have a minimalist or you have a custom. Just leave it, whatever you see there, just leave it all clicked. Click next and install. And you will install Notepad++. Now, if you're on this screen for Git, just click back once and then click next. And then you should be able to click Notepad as Git's default editor. Click next there. You can overwrite the branch name for new repos here, or you can let Git decide. I just say let Git decide, and everything will, your default branch name will be master. Click next. You can say click next here. Just use the recommended setting there. Use the recommended setting there. Use the recommended setting there on the HTTP transport backend. Use the recommended setting there if you're on Windows. Use default Windows console there. And then just say default fast forward and merge. Use the Git credential manager. Don't click anything else there. And just say install when you get to this page. And it will install Git on your computer. In the meantime, what'll happen is it'll install a couple of files here eventually. I'm running in Windows 10, by the way. Excuse me. While that's installing, the other thing that you can look at here is on this page where you downloaded Git, all of the documentation that you need is right here for Git. And there's a book that you can use. It's all online right here that tells you everything that you ever want to know about Git. Okay? So you can go to this reference manual, and it has all of the configurations and snapshotting and merging commands and everything else like that, right? Let's go back to our install here, and we should say click off, excuse me, the release notes, and click finish. And you'll notice over here in your start menu, you've got a new couple of programs here. Here's what I like to do. For my development tools, both on my personal laptop and my desktop for work, I like to organize all of the tools that I use for development into one area so that I don't have to go searching through everything. So what you want to do is click Git here, and I'm going to say Git bash, right click on it, and I'm going to say pin to start 11 there. I'm going to resize it for me, and I'm just going to drag it up there where it belongs there. Okay? So all of my dev tools that I use for stuff are right here. Right? Okay. So now we've got Git installed. So let's go ahead and click on Git bash, and it will pop up this nice little window here. I'll make it a little larger for you so you can see. Now what Git bash does is it emulates a Linux terminal. So if you're familiar with Linux commands, then you should be able to navigate in this. So to find out where you are on your machine, you just type pwd and hit enter, and it'll tell you exactly where you are. Your default is going to usually be your user profile directory. I do not want to install my code there, and I have another drive, but you can install code wherever you want to. I'm going to just go over my D drive, cd. Okay, and I typed ls for list. It's list short. LSL is list long, gives you more detail. And I'm going to make a directory over here. Well, no, before I do that, I'm going to clear my terminal. And then I need to go back over to my GitHub account and go to the repo. Now, you should have already committed, or you should have already created a GitHub profile. Okay. So before you do this step, you'll need to create a GitHub profile. All right. I'm going to click here where it says code. I'm going to copy that right there, which is the link to my repo. And I'm just going to say git. Well, first off, let's make sure, well, obviously git's installed, but let's just double check git v. Oh, git v. That gives us the git version there. Now I'm going to say git clone space, right click. Oh, let me try that again. Copy that. And it throws my link in there and hit enter. And you'll see all this stuff here. So now if I go over to my Windows Explorer, to that directory that I was at, I have that there. Okay, so go to that directory, which is my D drive. D. You'll notice that I have a new folder over here. Go away, Alexa. I have a new folder over here, and it's got all of the folders and files that are on my repo over here now. So if it looks like this, congratulations, you just cloned your first repo. Okay. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into, we have a Git folder in here, and this is where we're going to do a lot of our learning for things. So the first thing that we're gonna do, if we go over to the reference, is we're gonna try to, well, here's the other thing too. And this is something that I need to do. Let me pause my screen here. Pause my recording here. Oop. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that I had that locked down. Okay, so you will need to clone this repo or fork from this repo. And I won't get into forking right now, but what you can do is you should be able to either create your own repo with this structure and push it up to your own. And I can show you how to do that real quick. So what you want to do, the easiest way is to do this. After you've cloned this repo, go over to the repo, grab everything here, except for the Git folder, like so. Copy that. Go over to your own GitHub account, go to repositories, and say new repository. And you want to give it a name. Let's just use Jubilant Pancake like it says there. Test repo. You can make it private or public. Okay. If you make it public, everybody can see it. Now, if you're going to use a public repo, you should put it on your resume. Okay. I'm just going to say, don't add a README because there's one installed. Say create repository. And then I'm going to copy this and then go over to my bash again. Say git clone. Paste that in there, hit enter. And it says empty repo. And there's Jubilant Pancake there. And then I'm just going to copy everything that's in there. Well, you know what? Here, let's just do a fork. Let's show you how fork repo. Shares code visibly. I've never forked a repo. So we'll just continue the way I was going to do it. So I'm going to copy all of this. I'll go into Jubilant Pancake, paste it in there, and then go over to your Git Bash, go into Jubilant Pancake, you see all the files are in there. Do git status, everything should be in red. Git add, asterisk, git commit, new repo. And we'll explain all of these commands. And then just do git push set upstream. That's not going to work. Oh, I guess it did work. Okay. So now, if I go over to my GitHub here, my Jubilant Pancake should have some files in there. And you notice it has all of the same stuff in there. Now, this is our Jubilant Pancake one. I'm going to go ahead and delete that one because I don't want a cloned repo of another repo in there. So that's an easy way to do it. So I'm going to get rid of this. Let me get rid of this one here. There we go. Okay. So that's a way that you can do that. And I'll just delete it over here because I don't need it anymore. Delete this here. All right. So if you want to follow along, that's what I suggest you do. So you can play this back and look at the commands and just kind of follow along. Okay. Now, first things first, how are we going to learn how to use Git? Well, there's a couple of different ways to do it. There's the reference sheet over here, but if you're like me, it's kind of boring. There's a multitude of different ways that you could learn how to use Git, however. You can go to Codecademy. I believe there's a Git one over there. Git. Yep, right there. And there's a nice little free trial here. And I'm going ahead and started one just to kind of see how it looks. And let's say resume course. You'll have to sign up for a Codecademy profile. But once you do that, you can start stepping through. So let's just start looking here at Codecademy here at Git. So it talks about Git being a software that allows you to keep track of changes made to a project over time. It records the changes you make, stores those changes, and then it allows you to reference those as needed. So they have an example here, and it says in scene1.text will add this text. So just you can copy this text and just paste it in there and hit enter. Now run that, and it should allow you to go to the next page. So when you are creating a new Git repository, a brand new repository, okay, you have to initialize that repository. To do that, you can come over here. Actually, we'll just do it over here. pwd to find out where I'm at. I'm on a D drive, ls-l. I'm going to make a new directory. Okay, let me make this bigger. Make directory. I'm going to say test directory, test Git. And then I'm going to go into test Git. And I'm going to say git init. And what that does, you'll notice that up here, when I was in test Git, there was nothing to the right of test Git over here. When I type the git init, that makes this test Git a Git repository now. So now if I go in the test Git, you'll see a Git folder over here. Anything I put in there can be tracked. Okay. So let's throw a test file out here. Just throw a new text document and say test file. Right. And then we'll just throw some hello world stuff in there or something. And just save it. Okay. We'll do a git status. And it says I'm on branch master. And it notices that I have a test file out there that has changes that I need to stage. So I need to say git add test file.txt. Git status again, and it turns into green text, which means that it's been staged. I can say git commit -m double quotes and say adding first git repo. And now I can say git push set upstream. Let's try that again. All right, now, so what's happening here is that there is no test git repo over there. Okay. So for me to do that, what I need to do over on GitHub is I need to go over here to my repos, create a new repo, and just call it test git. Test git. Something like that. It's got to be the same name. And just say create repository. So now, uh-oh. Just say, let me try git push. Git remote. Actually, let me do it this. Let me delete this one. I don't do this too often, y'all. So this is new to me too. Delete that. Delete that. Delete that. So let's do that. Git remote add test git. And then I need to have the URL here. So let's make this URL. I'm going to cheat here. The URL will look like this. Copy that. Paste that. Let me delete this one here. I don't know if this is going to work or not. See if this adds it here. Okay. So it did something there. Let me refresh this. Then I need to do git push test git. Oop. What? Come on. Test git. Try that again. There we go. So now, if I go over to test git, there's my test file. There's my hello world. Don't do that too often. You probably won't have to if you're working in an environment that, you're pushing code up in a collaborative way. You'll have somebody do that for you. But it's good to know what you need to do. Okay, go away. All right. So we've created our first test repository. Now, the way this works is this is our initial snapshot of our repo. So I go over here, here's our repo, right? If I make a change to this repo, I'll just do it over here. I'm going to say goodbye. I'll commit that change. So this hello world originally is a snapshot of our repo at the time that I committed that change up there. Anybody that would have pulled down from that repo would have the same changes, all of the same code, everything else. When I update this, now what's over here in GitHub does not match what I have over here. So now I have to do a git pull. As a matter of fact, let's go into our test file.txt. Let's open this with Notepad++. And you'll notice, you know what? I gotta go to dark mode. This is killing me. It's over here in my options somewhere. All the cool kids use dark mode. I'm just saying. There we go. Okay. So I've got my, as I pushed it up, file over here, right? As soon as I pull down changes from the repo, I'm going to grab any changes that were made to that file. Git pull. And it'll notify me that a change has been made. And when I go back over here to Notepad++, it's going to tell me that there's a change. And yep, there's what I changed right there. Okay, so this is the second snapshot of the file. Okay, now what Git allows you to do, it allows you to go back to previous snapshots of a file or of a code base if you need to roll something back. It also keeps a history of what was in there, right? And I can compare the changes as well. Unified. I didn't fill out oh yeah, it's right there. And then if I go to, I don't use GitHub for my browsing too often. You can see where I made the changes there. Split this. You can see where I made the changes there. Anything with a plus symbol is added code or added text. So I had hello world here, and I added a space and goodbye cruel world there. So let's remove that again. Okay. Like so. Save it. Oop. Do I have more than one bash open? I do. Close that one. Git add. That stages the change. Git commit. Git push. And that will push up my change to the repo. And now, if I refresh this, that's the commit that I did back then. But then I should have a third commit in here on this file. Oops. And if if I view the history, I have 3 commits here. Here's my remove the cruel world. I can look at this. I can split this out and I can see I removed these 2 lines and I got it back to this one right here. So it just tracks the changes that you need. Okay. The normal order that you're going to do things in is in this order. You're going to clone down your repo for the first time. Once you clone down a repo, you don't have to clone it down again. It's already there. You're tracking changes to that repo at that point. So the first thing you're going to do, and let's go into our text file here. Actually, let's go over to our other directory here. Okay. Let's do this. Let's create a test file over here. Nope, that's not it. Okay. Close this file here. Guess I can close all these files here. Close all. Close multiple tabs. Bless you. Bless you. Close this one here because I don't need it anymore. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to my learning, or you've called yours. Go into the Git. I'm going to say new text document. Git order of ops. Okay. We'll edit this with Notepad++. So, in a normal day, go away, Amazon. Here's the order of operations that you're going to do. You're going to do git clone. Okay. And git clone allows you to clone the repo from the remote repository, which is on the server, to your local machine. Okay. Caveat to that is you should only have to do this once. Okay, there are other factors. Okay. Second one we're going to do is normally you're going to do a git branch. This creates a working branch in which you will do your work. Okay. Three, you're going to do git checkout, your branch name. This will check out the branch you just created in step number 2. Okay. And the example of that would be git. So let's say, for example, git branch new or working on assignment. Something like that, right? And in this one, you would say git checkout working on assignment. Okay. You're going to do your changes. Okay. Then what you're going to do, you're going to do a git status This allows you to see what you've changed on your branch that is different from the master branch. Okay, let's just get status. Okay, you're going to do a git add. You can either do individual file names or git add asterisk, which is a wildcard, says just add everything. Okay. You're going to do a git commit. And what git commit does, it marks, it pushes all of your, not pushes, it commits all of your staged changes to your local repository. Okay. You're going to do a git push, and this pushes your local repository changes, your local branch, up to the remote. Okay. Now, if you've never, you'll need to do git push set upstream, and then your branch name goes here. Okay. And once that's done, you do git checkout master. Okay. Come on. Okay. We just served breakfast in bed here by the children, at least two of them. Excuse me. And so now you've got your git checkout master. And from this point on, this repository, you should only have to do this step first. This should be your first step. I'll actually put this as 1A. 1B. Oop. We'll make this 1B. I'm going to do this if you've already cloned down the repo. Okay. If you do this every single time, you should never have an issue. So we'll save this, and I'm going to demonstrate this. So I have git status, and now you'll notice that I'm on the master repo, and I'm going to do these steps here. I'm going to do a git branch. I'm going to say add order of ops, git checkout, add ord, I did my work, git status, git add, I'll just say asterisk, git status. Now it's in green, it's rated stage, and it's ready to be committed. Git commit, yeah. Git push, git push, set stream. And the reason why we're doing this is because this branch, add order of ops, does not exist, and we're going to add it to the origin branch, which is the master branch. And there we go. So now if I go back over here and I go to my new branch or my repo, you can see I've got my add order of ops, had recent pushes less than a minute ago. Thank you. And then you'll notice if I have a drop down, it says I have two branches here. It's got my add order of ops branch, and it's got my master branch. You can see that in the drop down. And if I click on the add order of ops branch, you'll notice that when I go into Git, I have a file in there now, which is the file we were just messing around with here. Okay. And it says that this branch is one commit ahead of master. And if I go back into my master and go into that file, you'll notice that the file is not in there. Okay. So now the steps for the administrator or other devs or whoever is responsible for pushing changes up into the master, what you would do is you would fill out a pull request. So I'm going to say compare and pull request. I'm going to say added a new text file with Git operations on it. I'm going to say create pull request. And what happens is your changes would be reviewed. So somebody would come over here and say, hey, there's a new pull request over here. Well, let me check out to see what's going on here. And I can see the commits. And I can see the files changed. And you'll notice that it didn't have a file over here. So now everything's, in green over here, which means it's all added. And I can say, review those changes. I can make a comment, ask if there's any changes that need to be done, blah, blah, blah. Let me go back to the pull request. And I can merge that pull request. I'm going to say confirm merged. And what it'll do, once I merge it, it will delete, I can delete that branch over on master. So now there's only the master branch over there, and our Git folder has our file in it. Now back locally on my machine, I still have this add order of ops branch over there. So I can say git checkout master. Okay. Now, when I check out master, you notice I don't have that file over here anymore. So what we would do, it's no longer there. So what we would do is we would do our git pull on master. And as soon as I do that, let me do it this way so you can see it real time. Git pull. It'll grab the changes, and there's my file over there. And now I've got a match to master. And now my local repository and the master repo on GitHub both match one another. Now I don't need to have this add order of ops over there. So I can clean up this branch by saying git branch, capital D, And now I only have the one branch. So now I match what GitHub has. So that is, in a nutshell, what we'll be doing most of the time for Git on a normal day.
Wow.
Okay?